Hello there, Daniel Hall here, progressing, percolating, and evolving. And in today's video, I've got something very, very special for you. We're going to actually walk you through bulk sales to corporations of eBooks and e-excerpts. This is special. Now, if you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you have not yet subscribed, go ahead and do that right now. And of course, hit the little bell notification. And if you like the video, please go ahead and Hulk smash that like button. It really supports the channel and allows me to turn out more of these videos. Now today, I have something very, very special for you. We're going to be chatting about how to go about selling your book as an ebook and an e-excerpt in bulk to corporations. Now this could be a huge payday. And what makes this so special is I have David Chilton, best-selling author of The Wealthy Barber. He's been on Dragon's Den, basically the equivalent of Shark Tank in Canada, and he's done a number of PBS specials. Now, David is the world's foremost expert on bulk sales to corporations, and he is an absolute expert at it. Now in this video, you're going to see excerpts from a webinar that I did with David. I do want to let you know that while the content is absolutely golden, and you probably won't find it anywhere else on the planet, the video is shaky. So with that, let's jump in right now.
Tend to think of corporate sales as bulk sales of physical books, but that's the part that delightfully has changed and opened up all kinds of opportunities. What about bulk sales of ebooks? What about bulk sales of e-excerpts? So it's just a fraction of the book in an e-excerpt. How does that type of thing work? Let me go through a couple examples. We did a deal a few years ago, credit to my son on this one, I had nothing to do with it, but an absolutely amazing deal. There had been a major financial institution online trying to compete with the conventional banks that was doing well. I contacted them when the Wealthy Barber returns came out and said, I think this book is very much in keeping with a lot of your messages. Fortunately for me, the CEO agreed, and he bought a copy for each one of the employees. Fantastic deal. But I struck out when trying to deal with the marketing department. And their argument was, we don't deal directly with our clients. They don't come into a physical bank. We're an online bank only. We don't want to have to mail. The mailing costs are prohibitive. It's not going to work out. Couldn't get the deal struck. My son came in, big Netflix fan, as so many people are, and said, what about mixing models? What about they pay us a flat fee and they get an unlimited number of downloads for their clients of the Wealthy Barber Returns ebook? And I thought, well, I'm a little worried about that. I mean, unlimited, that could be a big number. Put some sort of cap. And so he went back to them and said, it's capped at the number of clients you have, but you can give out as many up to that millions and millions of clients as you possibly want to. You have no shipping cost. You have no distribution cost. You have no storage cost. You're talking about clicks. It's very easy. And remember the upside of books. The book that you choose, if you're a company's marketing department, you only choose because it matches your messages. It delivers the information you want delivered to your prospective client, and it does it in a very credible way, a third-party endorsement. Nothing can be better. Authors are viewed as being experts, as being very credible. They're held in very high esteem in our society. These types of deals help other parties to capitalize on that. So he went back to the bank, and they came back and said, we would love to do it. I'll never forget this. Scott came in and said, they're in. We're going to cap them at 1.5 million, 2 million copies. I forget what the number was. He said they're going to give it out in a number of marketing initiatives. And I said, geez, that's still a lot of copies. I'm a little concerned about all this. And he said they're willing to pay $400,000. Remember, that $400,000 goes straight to our bottom line. We have no cost of goods sold. We have no shipping cost. We have no hassle cost. We don't have anything. How good a deal is that? And by the way, I'm understating the impact of that deal on two fronts.
So I just wanted to break in here very quickly and highlight for you, we already know the great benefits of selling ebooks and e-excerpts in bulk to corporations. But pay very close attention to what Dave's about to cover on what these sorts of sales will do for other sales of your book in the wider marketplace. Let's jump back in.
When all those copies got out into the marketplace, then what happened was a lot of those people bought the physical book. For whatever reason, even though they liked the ebook, they wanted the physical copy, maybe to give it to a son, to give it to a daughter, to give it to a neighbor. But for whatever reason, our retail sales took a very significant boost. They really did. The second thing is word of mouth in general went through the roof. And remember, you don't have just all these copies out there leading people to talking about your book. You've got whatever advertising is associated with the marketing initiative that led to the copy being given out. A dream come true. And those types of deals are not being pursued. And the argument I made earlier that bears repeating is they're so inexpensive to pursue. You're just putting together a kit. We'll talk about more of that in a few minutes. And you're sending it out to 5 or 6 firms that you think are good matches. And you're following up with phone calls. This is not months of work. It's hours of work. Think about the return on investment with a deal like that. Now you say, yeah, but Dave, you had some momentum. The Wealthy Barber is a well-known brand, especially in Canada, but even stateside. You had an advantage we don't have. Our book's not well heard of. Well, there's all kinds of possibilities, as all these people having success in the last 12 and 24 months have proven. A lot of them, by the way, have done it with an idea I brought up a few moments ago, and that is e-excerpts. Think about all the companies online right now that are trying to use content marketing. They're trying to use blogs. They're trying to use reports. They're trying to use white papers to get people's contact information. The business of lead generation is a gigantic business, and it requires you to give something to the prospective client to get that contact information. So many of these companies, of course, prepare their own blogs. They prepare their own ebooks. They do whatever they can, but they don't have the same credibility. And frankly, they're not putting a lot of time into this. They're not done in a professional fashion in many instances. They don't provide a lot of great insights. Then compare that to an author. An author is a true expert in her field, a true expert in his field. They put in 6 months, put in a year into developing a very well done book. They're a third party. They're unbiased. From every perspective, it makes more sense to use their already existing content. And with an e-excerpt, you pick only the chapters that match up to the desires of the company. So if, for example, the company is in the pharmaceutical industry and they are dealing with diabetics, they might go to a healthy cookbook, but only pick the recipes that are well suited to diabetics. And you see this kind of thing all the time now. And then they offer those up online and say 10 recipes from such and such a cookbook, provide your information here. Everybody wins. And of course, the e-excerpt, like the e-book, there's no cost of goods sold. There's no delivery. There's no storage. There's no anything. Remember, many of these campaigns are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in e-marketing. They're all over the online world. They're spending so much money. If you can raise their efficiency level by providing them with a better giveaway, a more compelling product to get that contact information, they'll pay for it. They will pay for it with delight. And we're seeing that over and over again. In fact, they're gravitating towards the third-party pieces. They're gravitating towards the e-excerpts, especially if your book happens to do well, because then you've got the built-in credibility of it being well-known or of it getting media attention. In this business, all facets of the publishing business, success begets success. And that's why you have to keep grinding. And I know it's easy to say, but you have to do it. It's very difficult to get the first deal. It's very difficult to get the first piece of major media. It's very difficult to get the first aspect of your distribution in place. But when you get one, then relatively quickly it becomes 2, and 2 becomes 7. That's the way this business works. You've got to get that early traction, and it is a grind. But when you do that, big things start happening. If I get IBM to buy eBooks from me, you don't think it's a lot easier when I go to one of the big oil companies or one of the big banks and I say IBM's already using the book for their purposes? The credibility is in place. It's a heuristic for the buyer. They're going, what a shortcut. Somebody else has already looked at this, done due diligence, and likes it enough to see the possibility. So you keep grinding for those first deals. Well, let's say the first deal is an ebook excerpt, not necessarily a huge revenue producer, but it gives you that momentum. It gives you that credibility. And again, it's all to the bottom line. Everything you get goes straight to the bottom line. How many business ideas can you think of like that? And so what we're seeing happen now is a lot of two-part deals in the e-excerpt space. A company comes aboard and says, yeah, we like what you're doing, but with all of our advertising, we do a tremendous amount of testing. We do A/B testing. We'll test you against another offer. We want to make sure it works. All we want to do early is give you a couple $1,000s, and that gives us up to 10,000 downloads of the e-excerpt. But if it works, and we roll out the campaign on a much larger basis, then we're going to need access to 100, 200, 300,000 downloads of the e-excerpt, and then we'll pay you $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. Well, of course you're going to do it. And it makes perfect sense for them to want to do that work. You want them to win. You don't want them to write a check and then not have it work out well. So the fact that they want to test and move along gradually, that makes perfect sense from all people's perspectives. Off you go. The good news is this is all working a disproportionate percentage of times. And then what's happening is you're getting that second order. And remember, as I said earlier, with our big ebook order, that was the full book, not an excerpt, think of what it does for your word of mouth. And think about how many people read the excerpt and then from there want the full book. And off they go to Amazon.com and they buy it. We can track that, by the way, with certain initiatives we've done, where we've done e-excerpts or ebooks in a bulk basis. We can see our traditional Amazon sales, our traditional bookstore sales going up in lockstep because, again, it creates buzz, it creates word of mouth, it creates credibility. All things flourish when you get a lot of corporate sales of any type.
So that's some pretty powerful content. I think you would agree. Now listen, if you want more help from Dave, he actually has a course all on this subject of bulk sales to corporations and sponsorships from corporations for books. Check that out. I'll put the link in the description. Also, if you got value from today's video, would you go ahead and Hulk smash that like button for me? I'd really, really appreciate it, and it does significantly help the channel. And of course, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that right now. And hit the little bell notification so that you are notified every time I turn loose another one of these great videos for you. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go ahead and post a couple other videos that I know that you're going to love. Go ahead and check those out right now. They're somewhere around here. Remember, be the blessing.